Hey there Vault Hunters, Caedo Genesis here, bringing you another one of Caedo's countdowns, this time ranking shields in Borderlands 3. Like the 10 most blamiest firearms list, which did exceptionally well and I want to thank you for that, this list is super duper subjective, so just the opinion of this dumb Amara player. But I love to also hear reasons why other shields are good, so keep both those things in mind. My specialty is creating guides, so not only will I be showing you what these shields can do, but also where you can find them yourself. So let's get on with it. Welcome to Caedo's top 5 most protective, impregnable, and impractical shields in Borderlands 3. This first one represents a lot of things: failed relationships, clingy significant others, annoying robots, and bonus firepower. I am speaking of the shield called the Messy Breakup. The flavor text, as expected, says it's complicated, and the main guaranteed effects with this shield are first, that you are accompanied by a small drone that will fire at enemies, dealing so much damage per shot, and when your shield breaks, a temporary drone will come to your aid for roughly 10 seconds. Just starting with that makes it sound like, oh, this is kind of fun. This is gimmicky, but kind of fun. However, because of who you get it from, it also has the annoying voice of Genevieve. As I'd mentioned in the separate guide that I did for this shield, volume sliders are a thing and also recommended if she gets on your nerves like mine. But also, as far as I can tell, that's pretty much the only downside I can think of for this shield. A pretty big one at that. There are also 3 more interesting things that I noticed that aren't quite apparent just by looking at the stats. And number 1 being, the resistance element that it has, if it has one, directly affects the element of the projectile the drone fires. So, if it's a corrosive variant of the Messy Breakup, the drones will fire corrosive projectiles. Shock, same deal. And there's other variations, I'm sure. Another thing about the shield break effect that I noticed is that recharging to full is not required to spawn more temporary drones, meaning you can have multiples active at a time. If you have the means of forcing regeneration quickly with your shield just so it can break again, you can spam them this way. The third thing that I noticed about the drones is that the temporary ones have about double the fire rate of the main one. The damage for these can stack up pretty nicely too. While yes, the Messy Breakup is rather gimmicky, I have enjoyed using it time and time again. So now, where to find it? I kind of already spoiled that, but we're going to go over it anyway. On planet Eden 6, in the Voracious Canopy region, is the location of a crash ship known as the Family Jewel. And when you are sent there through the storyline, you get the wonderful gift of meeting Genevieve shortly after your encounter with Balex. This ultimately ends in an awesome mech battle with Genevieve, a battle that definitely drops a few points because she is a part of it. But this mechanized version of Genevieve has a chance of dropping the Messy Breakup shield, and can be farmed multiple times if need be to get it. I already mentioned how neat I think this shield is, and if you're wanting to try something different, I would say give this one a shot. I also mentioned something in the guide video itself of doing some sort of mental combo with Zane's drone as well, so there's an option too. On to the next. While I don't use this one as much as the Messy Breakup, its utility puts it a step higher for me, and that would be the Transformer shield. A very clear reference to Transformers due to its flavor text saying there's more than your eye can see. This is one of very few pieces of equipment in the game that makes you completely immune to an element. 100% resistance to shock damage. And not only that, but it converts 100% of that shock damage into shield. Also, it has a 40% chance to absorb bullets, adding them to your ammo count. With a generally high capacity and fair recharge delay and rate, the Transformer is a great shield in situations that involve anything shock related. There are a few different ways, and probably more in the future, in Borderlands 3 where you can self-damage with shock, letting you take full advantage of that shield regeneration. There's also boss rooms and enemy arenas that have generators that you can continuously overload to do area of effect shock damage to, in essence, recharging your shield. And I'm sure there's lots of other combinations that can be done with the Transformer. If you have any, please share. Speaking of sharing, let's go over where you can get the Transformer. Electricity is a completely optional section of Promethea, and opens up to you when you take the quest to help out Moxie in taking out Kilovolt. Navigate all the way through Electricity and do the things that are required to meet face to mask with Kilovolt, fight him, and he is the one that has the chance of dropping the Transformer, among some other shock-based items. Kilovolt himself is just a pain to fight, both due to his physical shield that he holds in front of him, and his complete immunity, like the Transformer, to shock damage, but he's who you get it from at higher odds at least. The Transformer is also a world drop too. So if you have strategy suggestions too to fight Kilovolt and expedite the process of getting a Transformer, please share, like Kilovolt is. There are a lot of choices when it comes to shields in Borderlands 3. More and more as we get expansions too, making the whole list subject to change. But early on, when I got my first stopgap, I looked at it and said audibly, well, this is cheating. Immunity phases on bosses are kind of obnoxious, but immunity phases on Vault Hunters, now that's cool. And that's what the stopgap's main thing is. It is a high capacity with a fairly long recharge delay that makes you immune to damage when it breaks for 5 seconds. A lot can happen in 5 seconds during combat in Borderlands 3. Having that much breathing room to get behind cover and wait for your shield to recharge makes this shield an absolute lifesaver. The flavor text reflecting that the process is called living, as it says. That's its main utility too. The other effects it comes with are randomized, leaving room for some cool combinations as well, like the extra resistance and movement speed that mine came with. While the stopgap does give you a break between skirmishes, unlike the messy breakup, it needs to fully recharge before it can give you that immunity again. And because that recharge rate is slow, hiding behind cover might need to become a habit with it too. But if that is part of your long-term strategy or the way you built your Vault Hunter in the first place, well, this just complements that. Now, where to get the stopgap shield? A lot of these are still world drops, but thanks to a particular update to Borderlands 3, now certain bosses and enemies drop specific things, and this applies to pretty much every legendary, including the stopgap. So if you're looking to pick one up, stop by Eden 6 and head to Jacob's Manor. On the outskirts, there is a rare spawn named El Dragon Jr., who drops not only the Unleash the Dragon relic, but now also stopgap shields. He has the chance of spawning in from a waterfall here. And for quick access when you quit and come back in, the new use station on the hill right above said waterfall is the closest to this spot. Something to also keep in mind with El Dragon is that he usually barely drops anything otherwise. So don't be too put off if he just drops a little stack of money. Too many muscles, not enough pockets. Second to last is fun to combo with anything radiation related, and that would be the red suit. This is to radiation what the Transformer is to shock, basically, except the radiation doesn't recharge your shields. The red suit comes with 100% radiation immunity. The first thing to keep in mind with the red suit is it is a low capacity, quick recharge type of deal. The immunity to radiation damage is technically the second part of this shield. The first part is its damage aura. Break effects can be bonuses with the shield, but this is simply a damage over time aura, which is visible while the shield is equipped. Enemies within this aura take radiation damage per second, around 744 at level 50. That's quite a bit of damage per second. Because of how the radiation status works with enemies, dealing damage over time already when enemies are nearby each other, exploding violently on death, and spreading said damage over time to other enemies, the red suit just compounds that. Throw a hard-hitting radiation weapon into the mix, and you're pretty much set to be a walking apocalypse. The first step to becoming said apocalypse, though, is getting a red suit for yourself. This shield can be gained both through a main quest and through an enemy drop. First, the quest. Eventually, after reaching Devil's Razor on Pandora, when playing through the storyline, there's a quest called Angels and Speed Demons. At the end of this quest, you are simply rewarded with the red suit. But because the bonus effects can be wildly different and it has a chance of being anointed, I figure you'll probably want to roll the dice again on that nuclear god roll. The other place you can get a red suit is on Necrotafeo. Get to the Tazendir ruins and you can locate one of Zero's targets of opportunity. Well, two, technically. That is Celestro and Atomic. Atomic is the one that has the chance of dropping the red suit, and both of them have a chance of dropping a pistol that complements it very well, called the Pestilence. So keep that in mind too if you're going for a radiation monger. Finally, the final shield, my personal number one, the Recharger. I still don't know if this shield works the way it's supposed to, but as for how it works at the time of this video, it's basically two full capacity shields at once. And obviously my top pick because of its protection value. You know, because shields do that sometimes. The Recharger is as follows. It's a high capacity, middle of the road recharge delay and fair recharge rate. And its red text says, once more, with feeling. The recharger's signature effect is it instantly begins recharging when broken, and its cooldown for that effect is 20 seconds. The text here says begins recharging, but from my own experience with it, it just charges to full immediately. There's no charge time to it with this effect. So technically, within that 20-second threshold, you're actually getting around 22,000 shields if you're starting at 11,000. Not to mention the extra effects that can come along with it below that point. There is no other shield I have consistently used on my Vault Hunters. I'm primarily an Amara player, of course, and even though Guardian Angel is nice, staying upright is nice too when absorbing damage. And this shield has a much shorter cooldown than Guardian Angel anyway. Playing through Borderlands 3 when survival is the goal, you bet my recharger is equipped. Now, where to get it, and this one is a little tough and disappointing. It is a world drop also, but our dwarven nemesis, Urist McEnforcer, whom I was already exhausted farming when getting the crossbow sniper rifle. He is the one who drops rechargers now, too. I'm not thrilled. I'm not thrilled about that. While I've gotten good rolls on it, like, there's always a better roll that you can get. That's part of the loop, the loot loop. Anyway, if you're looking to put yourself through that mess, Urist McEnforcer can be found in Electa City, the same place as Kilovolt on planet Promethea. Underneath Electa City is the subway system, and the main grand staircase that leads down to it is closest to where Urist McEnforcer spawns by excessively low chance from a door nearby a broken down subway car. There are two gripes I have with Urist McEnforcer, and not just his squished aesthetic, but how, as far as I know, all the new use stations in the area are so far away from the spawn point that you're going to be doing a lot of running with a low chance of him showing up and a lower chance of him dropping what you want. You want to know what I got him to drop before I gave up? A Rough Rider shield, because he drops those too. So if you want to get a good recharger, I would just suggest farming bosses, because you'll probably have a higher rate of success than farming the Urist McEnforcer. But the recharger's a really good shield, so hold on to the ones you do get. So in this countdown, we started with gimmicks, went to utility in the middle, and ended with maximum protection. A little bit of everything. Bear in mind that this is entirely based on my own personal opinion as a dumb Amara player, so your own preferences may be completely different, and if they are, please share in the comments below. If you got a really good roll of one of the ones I listed here too, share that also. I love hearing about what sweet loot you guys get. Speaking of sweet loot, there's other Caedo's countdowns you can watch, generally in the same format, which you can find in the playlist here. If you found this useful, entertaining, or both, you can do whatever you see fit to show that, including ring-a-dinging this thing. I know it's dumb, but notifications just heavily rely on this bell now. Another way to show that is to join the patrons on screen, including Wasteland Legend Sven. There's extra perks in doing so, like being included in the credits, and you help keep this channel going in the process. No matter what you do from here, thank you so much for making it to the end, and for watching. I'm Caedo Genesis, and may you wander the galaxy like you own it.